Well, hi. It's Thursday. It's me, your physics teacher. How's it going? I miss seeing you guys every day. It's very quiet here where I come to talk to you, so I'd really appreciate seeing you once in a while. Stop on by that chat, that office hours, and say hi. Rumor has it, I'm still working on my dad jokes book, and I've got plenty of things to share. Hey, today we're continuing our quest in thinking about simple machines. I hope you've started to wrap your head around this just a little bit. Bottom line, machines do one job right. They make work easier. How much easier? Well, that's called mechanical advantage. And is there a trade-off? That's called efficiency. So I'm hopeful those three ideas are getting together pretty comfortably this week. But bottom line, you can do work, and a machine makes that work easier. Now, we've had some conversation about this word of the day today, but I want you to think about it with me just a little bit more. The word of the day today is the word power. And I feel like we've crossed paths with this word before. You probably know that power is measured in a unit that's fairly common, and it's called watts. What do you think of when you think of power in watts? Well, for many of you, you might think of a light bulb. I mean, what a bright idea, right? This light bulb is actually an LED bulb, so it's really a low power consuming light bulb. It's made to replace what you might think of as a 60-watt light bulb, an incandescent filament bulb that runs at 60 watts. But this particular bulb says right on the side of it, 11 watts. And the question I have for you is, do you have an understanding of what it means to be 11 watts? Or any number of watts for that matter. And what I want you to recognize is power is actually a pretty straightforward idea. It's simply a rate or a ratio, and it's the rate or ratio of the work that gets accomplished per time. So it's literally just work over time. Or if you think of that another way, it's even more general to think of it as energy over time. In other words, this little bulb right here, 11 watts. What's going on when I turn it on? Well, let's say I turn it on for just 1 second. What happens in that 1 second? This bulb takes 11 joules, yep, that's our energy unit, of energy, and it turns it into mainly light. A little bit of heat, but mainly light. This bulb turns 11 watts per second. No, wait a minute. Let's not do that wrong. This bulb turns 11 joules per second, which is called 11 watts, into light and energy. Now, if you have a 60-watt bulb, the incandescent kind, strangely, it puts out a very similar amount of light, about 10 or 11 joules of light per second. But the other 50 or so joules becomes heat. And that's why those bulbs, of course, are not very efficient. They're hot, right? These bulbs they last longer. That's another conversation, but they're more efficient because they don't produce as much heat. So, super simple concept today, an idea that you're probably somewhat familiar with. Again, the concept is that called power. And the idea is that power is the ratio of work or energy per time. Enough of the theory, let's get down to business. What I want you to do today is figure out a way that you can determine the output of your body in watts. Now, whatever does that mean? Well, there are so many ways to output energy, but there's a couple that are real easy. What I really want you to do today is figure out a way your body can expend some energy. One of the real easy things to do, I'm not telling you this is what you have to do, but is to lift yourself up. If you start down here on the floor and then you end up higher, hey, it took work to get you up there, didn't it? What's work? Well, a reminder, work, of course, is force multiplied by distance. And if you simply lift yourself up, force times distance, hey, that takes energy, or that is using energy to get you there. Here's an idea. When you get up to that high, you've done work. The work is force times distance. Or if you'd rather think of it as how much energy do you have because you're up there, well, you could think of the energy that you have as potential. It becomes mgh. You know, some places where people live have these cool things where there's a whole series of things to climb on that come one after the other. My house has some of these. Some people have these in the places where they live. They're called stairs. Not a bad option. Wouldn't need them, but you could use them. What if you could measure the amount of time it took for you to accomplish getting yourself some energy? or doing some work. By the way, these two things are exactly the same, right? Because the force is the mass times gravitation. And the distance you go, the only part of it we care about is the upper part, the height. If you could put those two things together, well, those three things together, you would know how much power output your body had. So here's your challenge today. I want you to go somewhere, maybe outside if you can, um, but somewhere where you can take your body and you can lift it higher. Maybe you can do it a bunch of times and go up a series of steps. Maybe you can stand on a chair and go down and go up and down and go up and down. But somehow I want you to take a chunk of time and I want you to measure how long it takes your body to go through a chunk of vertical distance. And from that, I want you to go ahead and try to figure out what your human power output is. I've posted this quick little summary sheet that I want you to work on. Hey, what task did you choose to perform? There's lots of options. Feel free to be creative. If you want to have a little extra fun, you could always import a quick photo of yourself doing your task. That'd be fun. How are you going to determine the power output? Well, do the physics. Put the physics right here. Explain how you're going to come up with the numbers. Show us the calculation using actual data. Here's what you did. Hey, what's the value that you got? And what questions do you have about energy and power? Short and sweet, but I wonder, how much power can a human put out? I mean, I don't know. Do you suppose if we could harness your body somehow, you could light this 11-watt light bulb? Or is that ridiculous and that's way too much energy per second for your body? Or maybe you could light 10 of these at once. I don't know. Let's find out. So here's my challenge. Try to figure out a way to measure your human power. Play around, get some numbers, record them. Feel free to interact with each other, text each other, snap each other, do that cool thing you do to communicate with each other and see if you get some numbers that you believe. But let's find out what kind of human power numbers we can get. That's your challenge. Check it out. Feel free to pop in with some questions, but see what you can do to come up with your power output. Thanks. Look forward to seeing what you come up with.